This is the 41st LeetCode challenge, and it is called First Missing Positive. Given an unsorted array, nums, return the smallest missing positive integer. You must implement an algorithm that runs O(n) time and uses O1 auxiliary space. Okay, so if you have nums 1, 2, 0, that'll put us 3 because positive numbers 1 and 2 exist, so the next one is 3. Nums 3, 4, -1, 1. There is 1, but not 2. 3, 4, so it's 2. Then 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, the output is 1. Alright, let's get started. So, I guess difficult part with this, it wants O(n) performance, or O(n) time, and then uses O1 space. So O1 space would be not creating any other variables, just using this nums array, so doing all the work in there. And then because O(n) can't just sort the array, we have to run it from like start to finish in one go, or instead of it running like a sorting algorithm where it runs multiple times on each item in the list, any loops we use has to be like 1 to nums length. Okay, so that makes it more difficult as to how we do this. So we want to completely ignore all numbers that are 0 and lower, and then we want to just look at the positive ones. Okay, so we need to figure out a way of being able to do sorting of some kind, but keeping it all contained within this int array. So this int array will contain a bunch of numbers, negative, positive. We don't know the order of it, so we can't just go through and find it. We can maybe we can use the indexes of the array to do something with it. So okay, I've got it. So we can use the indexes of the array as like a dictionary. So use the index number as the key, and then whatever the item is like the value, or I should say we use the index as the key to say that this number exists in the array, and then we can do that as, so use the index as this value exists. So index 0 will be 1, index 1 will be 2, etc. And then in each of those index locations we need to store a value that lets us know that, okay, this value exists in the array or it doesn't. So what we can do, let's do int exist equals 0, int not exist equals -1. What we then do is for int I equals 0, and we go through the nums array. If nums, so we'll just grab int num equal nums I. Oh, we don't need to do that. If nums I is less than 1, or nums I is greater than or equal to nums.length, nums I, actually I could change that to const, oh, wrong way around, equals not exist. So if we're using the index of the array as like the identifier for which numbers are available, obviously we only want positive numbers, but then if the number that's contained is greater than the length of the array, it won't be able to fit anywhere. So just change that to not exist. So we eliminate the numbers which will not be valid for this. We then need to do another loop, and this one will be for grabbing the valid values, and then putting that into setting the index location with that it does exist. So if nums I equals not exist, or nums I equals exist, then we just continue because it's already been done. We'll grab what the current number is, num equal nums1, or I. And what we'll do is, so if we move this number, or actually maybe calling it key is more appropriate than just num, because no, we'll change that to index. So this will be the index in the array. So but yeah, at some point we'll be doing nums index minus 1 equals exist. So then if we do that, we need to make sure the value that's in this location is retrieved, and if this is also a valid number, we need to put that into. So we'll do while index is greater than exist. We'll do var temp equals nums index minus 1. So we've got the value in here. We then do we then do this, and then actually let's just do the minus 1 from here. Then index equals, actually we could just do the minus 1 there, can't we? Index equals temp. So if it doesn't exist, or it already does exist, as in it's been done through this loop, we continue. Otherwise we grab the value that's in here, so let's say that's 7. We then do minus 1 to make it 6, as index 6 in the array is the 7th item. We then loop through, as we're going to be changing the index in here. So while this is greater than exists, so that greater than exists contains, make sure it's not exists or not exists. Grab the value that's in the current index, and then also do a -1 there. Save that to temp. Num's index is now set to exist, which is this value, and then index equals temp. Okay, something that we need to do, because we're grabbing the value in here, we're not actually overriding this at all. It stays in this this index still contains the value. So we need to do nums I equals not exist. So let's say I is 2 at the moment, and it has the value 7. So we're going to be moving value 7 into index 6. But then let's say later on there is the value 3, which has which would be index 2. We want to move that we want to make that value exist without having to rerun it again, because that's what leaving it as the default would do. Okay, so I think this is all that needs to be done for moving, well, for setting the indexes as being like, I think this is all we have to do to set whether the index location or the number exists or doesn't exist by using the index. I think that's all. So what we do now is int output equals 0, and what we can do then is, actually no, we don't need this, I don't think. We can do for int I equals 0, same thing again. We can do if nums I does not equal exist, return I. So if we go through all of here and it doesn't exist, actually return I plus 1. So if that doesn't exist, I think it'll be return nums.length plus 1. Okay, I think that's how this should work. So for loop over nums, for loop over nums, for loop over nums. So that is all array n. Then we're not creating a new list, so that should be fine. Okay, let's run it and see what this does. Okay, it looks like I messed up with the input. Wait, what? I have no idea what happened here. Oh. Okay, never mind the input. Actually, we can look here to see if it worked. And we can see it didn't. So this should have been 0, 0, -1. This should have been 0, oh, -1. Okay, it partially works. Okay, let's break point to see what's going on. So we've got nums here, switches 1, 2, 0. It should make the last item -1, which it did. Good. So then we go to here. If nums 1 or num0. So that's 1. We'll go to here. So this will be 0. So that made it, set it to not exist. But then it'll go, well, okay. I didn't think of that. Index can be 0. So I think that's the only problem, hopefully. Okay, we got the first one right. It's the second one now that's having issues. So we'll go back to here. We'll skip running the first one, go to the next one. So this should make index 2 -1, which it already is. Oh, that didn't do that correctly. Okay, I'm going to need to restart that. So go to this one. Okay, this should be greater than, not greater or equal to, because we're then doing -1 for the index, so that's fine. So I think that might be the only issue. Okay, still did that. Even though, or did I do that wrong? I did that wrong. This should be 1 here. Okay, so now that we've got the correct input, now we'll run it. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that is everything that needed to be done. So we'll copy that, put that into LeetCode here, and run it. Okay, all the test ones came back as accepted, so now we'll submit. And there we go. That was the solution. Cool. So that was the 41st LeetCode challenge called First Missing Positive. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.